This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Jeff Gardner.
Welcome to another episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today we have another good neighbor on, Don Mucci of the Lice Squad. Don, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm looking forward to the conversation. I know very little about this, and sometimes I love that. Sometimes we have clients we've been working with for a long time or people we've known for a long time. I like to have that beginner's mind when I have these conversations. So let's start from the top. What is the Lice Squad, Don?
Lice Squad is a national head lice removal franchise system. We provide on-site head lice checks and services, as well as a full line of natural, non-pesticide and chemical-free products for families. We are sort of all things kids hair care. We started out as a head lice removal franchise, and then we expanded into becoming a hair cutting service for families and children living with autism. So we're in essence kind of all things kids hair care, and we franchise and license that model across the country.
Wow. So is this head office where you are?
Yes, that's correct.
So you own the franchise?
I started it 23 years ago, yes.
Holy smokes, Don. Nice work.
Well, it's a job, but somebody's got to do it.
So where's your head office?
Our head office is here in Barrie, just behind the Costco at 400 and Highway 89. 400 and Mapleview.
400 Mapleview. I pass there all the time. Okay, so just to get this straight, so these franchise locations are all over the country, or how does this work?
We have locations across the country. We're from Newfoundland to Prince George, BC. People buy franchise territories and they either open up a lice removal salon and hair cutting clinic, or they have a mobile service. So we have two models, an express and a full service. Express is under 100,000 households, like in a rural area. You would operate on a mobile scale. When you're in an urban center of 200,000 households or more, you would then have a bricks and mortar clinic, and one retail space would do lice removal and the other retail space would do the hair cutting service.
All in one building, the two spaces?
Correct.
So the space that you're at right now, is this one of them?
This is our head office location, so our training location. So this is where we do service, but it's also our head office where all of our staff are and all of our shipping and receiving is done. So this is our main hub. And then we have other salons that just do the servicing and selling products across the country.
And what about in Barrie, as we're mainly focused on Simcoe County? So can I walk into where you are right now and have this done for my kids, me, or what do I do?
Yes, so our clinics are by appointment because there is the privacy issue, as well as we deal with a lot of people on the spectrum and people living with autism. And so we like to give them a private space to come in to get their lice removed or their hair cut. So you would call us to make an appointment for either of those services. And then we would have you come in and you would get the whole place for just you and your family for the duration of time that's needed for us to either provide your haircut or your lice removal service.
So you're the only one in there during that appointment?
You get the place to yourself. It's designed that way just for comfort and privacy, and just to help people that are a little intimidated by the situation and that need some just comforts of just being with their family or just in a space that's not got a lot of distractions and things of that nature. You can walk into any of our locations and buy product, of course, but for this service we try to keep that very intimate between one family at a time.
And is it the one location in Simcoe County, or do you have multiple?
We have the head office salon here in Barrie, and then we have another one up in the Aurelia area. So as I mentioned, there's franchise locations, and they're all over. A majority of them are in Ontario, and they're spaced around 200,000 households apart. So you can go down into Richmond Hill and find another clinic, Brampton Vaughan, Mississauga, that type of thing.
And do I need to speak to a doctor to get a rec form or something? Or can I just say, listen, I think I have this problem, I'm going to give you guys a call?
Absolutely. Public health doesn't do anything or deal with head lice in any manner. The only reason you might want to find out maybe from your private insurance is if they have a health spending account that something like this might be covered for them. But other than that, I mean, this is not a doctor recommended or referred program. Head lice is not considered a health or medical condition. That was done 23 years ago when I started this business, when I was a mother looking for help and went to public health to try and get some help, and nobody would help me. And they said that they weren't dealing with the situation anymore. And I felt very defeated, and I was crying, and I left that office feeling like I would pay any amount of money for someone to help me with this issue. And I was just so devastated. And I was walking down the hall, and the nurse came running out of the office and said, "Just meet me in the bathroom. I'll check your head." And she did. And then right away, I'm like, this is a major problem I'm having. And I want to help other people solve it. First of all, I need to solve it for myself. And that kind of was the inspiration of why I started the business, because I went looking for help and there wasn't any.
So that's what I was just about to get into. I am fascinated by human beings as a whole. It's one of the studies of my life. One of the reasons why I got into marketing is I get to meet so many entrepreneurs that are having a great impact out there, learn about their story and help spread it. I mean, marketers are message spreaders essentially. So I was just about to ask you, like, how did you get into this? And then what made you decide I'm going to open my own business? I mean, it's really that two-pronged approach. If you can go two-pronged question, if you can go a little bit deeper, peel back the layers a little bit more. What made you decide that I'm going to do Lice for my work and open my own business? As those are two different things. Opening your own business is very difficult, especially if you're going to go national. Like, really, kudos to you. That's a rare thing. 23 years is also rare. What we were talking about in the pre-show, the statistics for small and medium businesses are tragic. Making it 23 years, you have to be in like the 90 plus percentile for staying power for a business. But what brought you to that decision? Was it just your own experience? Was there something else there?
I'll get into that, why we succeeded, and that's through the franchise model. I'll touch on that more later. But the reason I got into this, I just do believe that all of us are called in some form or fashion to have a purpose in life. And this happened to be my calling. As a young girl, I got lice a lot in school, and I was really stigmatized and teased about it a lot. And it was a very shameful experience. My dad, who was a single father, used a lot of pesticides and chemicals in an effort to try and deal with the issue. And it was very traumatizing for me. And my dad was very angry every time I got it. So I understand the stigma and the shame associated, which is the first thing. Secondarily, when I had children of my own, I got lice again as a young mother. And when that happened, it just took me right back to that negative place. And I went looking for help. And as I mentioned, I couldn't find any. And I felt, again, very defeated and stigmatized. And I knew that there had to be a better way to deal with lice than the way it was dealt with on me as a child. I didn't want to make my child feel bad. I didn't want to put chemicals or pesticides on him. So I just went looking for help and couldn't find any. At the time I was a single mother, I was on social assistance. I didn't have any money, but I had an aromatherapy background, and I was also very entrepreneurial as a little girl. I always had lemonade stands, and I was always making a buck somehow. I was born an entrepreneur, I believe. So I just went and researched this situation, and I found a way to cure myself. And over the course of the next year, I just started going out and helping others. Toronto. I would take the bus with a little suitcase and start just helping people. I really didn't formally start a business until several months after just helping myself and helping other parents. And I realized after my phone started ringing to the point where I couldn't keep up, that I had something of value and that other people wanted that. And I needed to figure out how I was going to go about starting a business and how I was going to go about meeting that demand and scaling the business, or how I was going to scale the business. And I realized early on that I needed to make a decision whether I was going to kind of grow that business corporately on my own and put a corporate structure around it, or if I was going to do a different model. And what I chose was the franchise model of organizing and growing a business. And I actually didn't know anything about franchising or even about running a business. I was actually a high school dropout. I had no formal business education, no college education. All I knew was I had a great solved the problem. I had a great concept. I had passion for what I was doing, and I wanted to do it. And I just basically did it. I said, okay, I'm gonna open a business, and that's exactly what I did. And about a year into what I was doing, running around from house to house, helping people, I realized I was burning out. I was wearing all the hats, and so I started training other women to do what I was doing, and they started helping me service clients. And about a year into it, a lady from Sudbury called me. Her name was Diane, and she said, I want to buy a franchise. And that's exactly how it started. I said, sure, no problem. I'll sell you a franchise. And I had no idea what that was. And so then again, I did what I did when I started the business. I went and researched franchising, what that was all about. And I found a franchise lawyer, and I got all of the required documents and things in place. And I sold my first franchise to her 23 years ago for $5,000. She actually was with me up until about a year ago when she passed away suddenly. But her daughter took over her legacy and is now my franchisee. So, it's kind of serendipitous that I found, fell into this by having a problem I dealt with as a child. Then as a young mother, I found a way to deal with it. I just started helping other people. And then out of, nowhere, I become a franchisor because somebody called me up and wanted to buy a franchise. And along the way, it was all just learning and persistence. And it was never that I knew what I was doing. It was just the fact that I knew what I was doing was of value. I loved it. And I would figure it out as I went and just persist through whatever kind of obstacles came. And I wanted to touch on what you said about franchising, about businesses failing. It's true. A lot of people start businesses and they don't have the support, or they don't have the resources, and they tend to fail. And why I love franchising and the beauty of franchising, why I really chose it, not just because it fell in my lap and it was a serendipitous thing, but the more I got involved in it, I realized that when you're franchising, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And so you have like a greater opportunity and chance of success because you are coming in under the umbrella of someone who succeeded before you and has that roadmap that they can give you, and that support and mentorship and all of those things that you need as a business owner, quite frankly, to succeed. You can't do it by yourself. Solopreneurship is the biggest death sentence to success in business. So franchising gives people that opportunity to be more successful and have the resources and the support and the actual case study of success before them, just that they replicate that, and how could they not succeed? So that's why franchising is such a beautiful thing in this country, and it is one of the biggest generators of employment and gross domestic product. Franchising is responsible for a huge amount of small business creation in this country, more than most people know.
It's fantastic. This is one of the reasons why entrepreneurs are often some of my favorite people. Is you found a problem in your life that you wanted to address, and then you addressed it, and you could have stopped there, but there was something in you that thought, if I have this problem, other people may have this problem. And now you essentially said, I'm going to dedicate a huge portion of the rest of my life to helping people solve this problem. There's a real altruism there, and kudos to you. I think it's fantastic. And
Thanks.
Congrats to your success. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Myths and misconceptions. I know very little about Lice, and education, I know, has a huge impact on human beings. It's something that we try to provide here as much as we can from the experts that come on the show, like yourself. If we're talking about marketing, we try to teach people how to get the word out there effectively and really nurture and care for their ideal demographic. Education is a big point. So when it comes to myths and misconceptions about your industry, as they're pretty much in every industry, is there information out there that if you helped clarify, that people could start making better decisions, get the help that they need quicker, something along those lines, Don?
With respect to head lice care?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So the stigma with lice is that you're dirty, uneducated, you're of a lower class economically, and that is the furthest thing from the truth. Head lice is the second most communicable affliction next to the common cold in children, and over 3 million Canadians get it annually, and if not more. There's no real reporting, official reporting that's done here in this country. And in the States, I believe it's like 12.4 million. It's just a really common human condition, and anybody can get it. If you have hair on your head, you can get head lice. And so the stigma that's associated with it is not necessary. It's like the stigma of most other types of ailments. It's just there out of fear, and fear creates that type of stigma, and people, just need to get that education. And our mission, and my mission from the very beginning of the business, was to end the stigma associated with head lice and to stop the overuse and abuse of pesticides and chemicals on children and the planet, or people and the planet, because I realized that what we're putting on our bodies goes into our bloodstream and eventually into our water supply. So it's just my little tiny piece of, helping people on the planet, and every little bit adds up. So that's been our mission from the beginning. And we just want to be a soft place to land when people are dealing with this very scary issue for them. Bugs in your hair is not something that goes over well with most people. And when you need help for that, it's good to have some place to go and not just, be left with all those questions and all those fears unresolved.
Yeah. Well said. Something that I'm curious about is what is the effects of lice on us? If I have lice right now, what is it doing to me?
So lice are basically parasites that suck your blood, and they go from head to head, and their survival mechanism is sucking blood. You don't really, you'll get more psychologically bothered by them than physically ill from them. I mean, the public health department says they're not a health risk or anything, but they are blood-sucking insects that go from head to head. The worst things I've seen with lice are people that are untreated or undiagnosed, and they've got lice for a long time, and they have open sores and scratching, and they have gotten impetigo and other types of infectious diseases on their scalps. Just the general uncomfortableness of being bitten and scratching from those bites just is not comfortable for people. And as far as communicable diseases, I don't know of any reported ones, but I mean, again, there's really nothing public health or any of those agencies are doing to collect data or any even reporting on cases. So it's hard to say. But at the end of the day, you don't want bugs in your hair. And especially, you don't want to give them to anybody else.
Yeah. So how can I tell if I have them?
Well, you'll be itchy in most cases. Some people don't get itchy. But this is why we always kind of say to parents, take a peek once a week. If you check ahead, you avoid the spread. Just make it part of your natural hygiene practice because head lice are very common and people don't realize that. And we're in a time right now where there's a really big problem going on with our, I guess with the way this issue is being dealt with. So what's happened over time, and I'm sure you heard a lot about superbugs when it comes to the antibiotics that we're using. So lice have developed also a resistant. They've been coined super lice, and there's a lot of media, and I've been doing a lot of news, radio and television interviews. I was just on breakfast television talking about this, that these super lice have become immune to, many of the over-the-counter products that have commonly been used to treat lice. And so what's happening is parents are having a harder time getting rid of them. And couple that with the fact that just prior to, I'd say, COVID, about a year or two, school boards stopped their no-nip policy. So prior to this, when I was in school or when you were in school, nurses used to come and check for lice. If you had lice, you get sent home. And they have these no-nip policies where you can't come back to class with active lice. The boards determined this was detrimental to children because it would harm their education. So they are now allowing children to come to school with lice in their hair. So now we have super lice that are resistant, and we have school boards that are allowing children to come into classrooms with lice. So now we have this cycle that is really perpetuating a lot of stress and annoyance in parents because they've got to take time off work to deal with this. It's frustrating. It's just one of those situations where you're dealing with getting rid of the lice and then you're sending your child back to school where they're going to get lice again. And then we have the issue with Health Canada has a natural health product division where they are very strict on what type of products that they'll allow people to sell with respect to natural health products. And they make it very difficult for an entrepreneur like myself or a small business to innovate and bring new products to market that solve these problems. So unless you're like a big pharmaceutical company or you're a big corporation, it is almost impossible to bring new products to market under this natural health product division of Health Canada, because you're required to do a number of things that are really out of most small businesses' cost ability. So I have a product that I had to start a Kickstarter campaign and a GoFundMe campaign to bring to market, because I have a product that we used to actually use in our company for many years successfully. It's a mineral product made of limestone, and it really has a high pH. It's calcium hydroxide. And we apply this product to our customers, and it dehydrates the lice in the eggs, making it so much easier to get rid of. And it works really well on these super lice. But during COVID, Health Canada told us we had to stop selling it because we needed to get this natural health product designation, which comes with a hefty price tag, a lot of red tape, a lot of just difficulty of the application process itself. So we are in the process of trying to crowdfund to get that product to market, because it's going to require a very costly clinical trial. Although we used it on thousands of people successfully without one adverse reaction or one formal complaint, this product is extremely safe. It's the mineral itself is used in preservatives in baby foods and in dental applications. I mean, it's a very common mineral, a very safe mineral. And again, we've used it on thousands of people, but that evidence wasn't good enough for Health Canada, because we did make the application. And they said, no, you need to do a clinical trial now, which to me is absolutely absurd, given the fact that it's been successfully already used in the marketplace for a decade. But and they did that in the middle of COVID, when we were already struggling as a company, because as you can imagine, head lice is a communicable affliction that requires social gatherings. And so not only do we have to shut down during COVID, and this is my little bit of a sob story, but I do have to share it. Not only do we have to shut down during COVID, we also almost went out of business because people weren't getting lice, because everyone was isolating. So I went I spent my life savings keeping my doors open and keeping my staff employed, because I believe in this business so much. And it was in the middle of that situation, which was such a very challenging time, that Health Canada did that. And on products were pretty much the only thing we had that were keeping us going. So it was very, very devastating, but I persisted through it. And I did what I had to do. I took whatever loans I had to take. I spent whatever I had saved. And so we made it. Here we are. We're on the other side. So we're still here. Thank you. But we are still facing the challenge of bringing this product back to market. And this is where I made the decision to be vulnerable and to not have any pride about it, that I need help to get that money to put the clinical trial in place. So I've started a Kickstarter, and where people can pre-order the product, and I've got a GoFundMe happening. So I'm hopeful that my community of people that have known me and supported me over the years, my past clients, current clients, or prospective clients, might really see the value in supporting this clinical trial and want to help us get this product to market. Again.
So are there other products that can be used, like if you have a client tomorrow, or has this red tape stopped everything?
No, the red tape, it's stopped a lot. We still do the physical removal, and we still use a number of our other products that help us get the lice and eggs out. We're not allowed to make any claims in that regard. However, to be able to make any type of claim like that, you need to have this natural health product designation on a product. So we don't make any of those claims. So we're still doing our lice removal service. Our hair care products are still sold, but this particular mineral that works on super lice, and the mineral that we really want to be able to make available to the general public so that they can use that, not having to come in and use a service, is the product that we really want to bring to market, because we know this will help many Canadians. And the funny part of it is that this product there's no problem this product being sold or used in other Commonwealth countries or even in the States. It's just Canada that has this absurd amount of red tape and regulatory burden that they place on small business owners such as myself. And I can tell you of thousands of other small businesses who've come up with amazing products that are so good for people in the planet, that are so effective, that they cannot use or bring to market because they're required to deal with this strict regulatory policy that the current government has in place, and the expense of these clinical trials and all of the licensing fees and application fees and everything that's involved.
Well, I love the story, Dawn. I love why you do this. And there's just so much passion and drive behind it to go through those challenging moments and to do it for more than 2 decades. So I'm voting for you. I hope you get what you need.
Thank you.
In the meantime, is there something that I can do to be preventative for lice?
For head lice, yes. You could just avoid head-to-head or hair-to-item contact. So head lice don't hop.
Sorry, Dawn. I didn't
head-to-head or hair-to-item contact. So you can't get lice if you don't make head-to-head or hair-to-item contact. They don't hop, jump, or fly. So you can't get them being in the same room as somebody. You have to literally touch your head to their head, or share a hat, or like a towel or a brush or something. So that's the only way that you can get lice.
Okay, it's great tips. I mean, I'm a snuggler, so my head definitely touches some other people's heads sometimes, but now that I know, I will try to avoid that a little bit more. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Dawn, outside of the business, let's talk about you a little bit. I ask this to every entrepreneur that comes on the show. What do you do for fun? The vast majority of them tell me that they love their business. Their business is very fun. And I'm very happy that there are so many people out there that love what they do each day, as many people do not. But outside of your business, what puts a smile on your face, Dawn?
I just love to be in nature. I just love to be in my kayak or by the water or hiking somewhere. I love to write and sing and just worship this beautiful creation of life that we've been blessed with, and just the beauty of our natural environment. I really just enjoy being in nature, and I like to create. I'm a creator, so my business is very fulfilling and fun for me as well, because I get to use my creativity to create products and create marketing and to create, relationships. And I write a lot of fun parody songs about head lice. I'm a YouTube creator. So we have a YouTube channel called Head Lice Expert. And I'm always on there creating content on how to check for lice, how to remove lice, what to do for your environment. I create content to help people with dealing with lice. And then I write fun parody songs about head lice. And I teach people how to start businesses. I coach people on entrepreneurship and businesses. I do speaking to help people who are wanting to be in business. I'm a mentor for franchising and that type of thing. So I just like to be involved in creating.
I love it. Busy. Sounds like you are busy. I love all that. One of the things that we love talking about on the show is doing hard things, and the value of not only not suppressing our hardships, but like you just did a moment ago, embracing them and sharing them with other people, because I think there's a great deal of growth and opportunity that comes through our challenging moments. I would argue that when I'm succeeding, my brain's getting the signal that things are going well. Keep doing the same thing. You're succeeding. There's not a real desire for continuous change when succeeding. But if I can't currently surmount this obstacle that I'm facing, my brain is saying either quit or adapt, change, learn something new, ask somebody for help. So it's that constant opportunity to grow and get better. And that's why I love challenging things. I have a lot of rules for my life on my arm, and one of them is to do hard things.
Love it.
Another one is fear is your green light, because I think fear stops us a lot. So we
Love
like
it.
to ask, yeah, I need them, especially in those emotional moments, to look down and be like, oh, right, that's who I want to be, act
Yeah.
accordingly. So we love to ask the guests that come on the show, is there any trials, tribulations, hardships that you've been through that when you look back in hindsight, you wouldn't remove this ingredient from the recipe that has become you, because it's led you to enjoying the life that you live today?
Yes. Well, what choice do we have anyway?
I don't give myself one.
I mean, we don't. The thing for me is every one of those challenges, as hard as they were to go through, were necessary to create who I am today and the success that I have today. I always say to people to be prepared to fail really big and mess up really big, because it's important that you do that so that you can learn. I also tell people to sometimes to just let go and let God, because there comes a point in time where you cannot think or figure things out, and you do have to give it up and rely on a higher power, whatever that is, for whoever that is. For me, it's God. I let it go to God sometimes, and you know what? There are things that I just don't understand or know how to figure out, and 9 times out of 10, it does work out in my favor, because sometimes you just have to sit back in the silence and wait and let it, let it unfold as perhaps it was meant to unfold. And maybe we're doing something that's hindering that. We might be trying to figure it out when we're not. So we're doing this and we're supposed to be doing that, or maybe we're not supposed to do anything at all and just have faith, right? So I really, I'm a very faithful woman, and I believe in that. I also think that all of the trials that I've went through were just stepping stones to just build the foundation of the wonderful business and life that I have today. And it's not going to be the first or last one I go through, and they're always going to come. So you just have to, it's your reaction to them. So are you going to fight it, or are you going to sit in it and be faithful and let it unfold and then listen for those cues? Or are you going to maybe ask for help? Because you said that's a big thing people don't do. They don't ask for help. So I'd say just be able to ask for help, be just faithful in your abilities and sit in it and wait for whatever inspiration or whatever guidance you need to get, and try to just figure it out as best you can. And when you get stuck, just kind of let it go for a bit and let God, I guess, like I said, sometimes you just have to just leave it alone.
Yeah. Acceptance is a very difficult thing, very powerful thing, understanding what we control
and what we can't.
what
Exactly.
we don't. And
Yeah.
the vast majority of everything I cannot control. It's mainly,
Yeah.
people even say you can control your thoughts. I'm like, I would argue that there's a lot of thoughts going through my head that I didn't ask them to be there. But
That's
what
right.
I can control is my actions, the way I treat people.
Yes.
Um,
Your response or lack of. And that's a big one. Sometimes no response is the best response.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a great quote by one of my favorite books. It's called Man's Search for Meaning by Dr. Viktor Frankl. And he said, between stimulus and response is where you find your freedom. Whereas so many of us, you get the stimulus, somebody punches me in the face, I punch back right away. I didn't choose that. I just allowed my reactions to take over.
Yeah.
Where he says, if you just pause for a moment, maybe breathe, do whatever you need to do, and then calculate your next decision, freedom is found there. It's a pretty cool quote that I love to keep close to me. I really appreciate you sharing those stories with us. And I would ask you, do you think you could be who you are today, have the business you have today, the impact on the people that you have today, without the challenges that you've been through?
I would have liked it to be less challenging.
Yeah, great answer.
I honestly,
could it have been?
I would have really loved a smooth ride. Yeah, I would have liked it all handed to me on a silver spoon. No, I'm lying. Because if I'd have had that, I wouldn't have appreciated. I would not appreciate it as much as I do today. And a lot of those times, I really didn't think I could get through it. And it was literally, like you said, giving up and getting into that void, that silent space, that gap, was just what got me out of it. And of course, I would like to have it easy, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah. And it's probably, I would say, a testament to your character for sure. A lot of us entrepreneurs, running a business is hard. Whether you run it for, we have about 14 people with us. I don't know how many dozens of people you have with you, whether it's 100 or one. Running a business is difficult. And I think it's meant to be that way.
Yeah.
Because the hardest things in life for me are certainly the most rewarding. My love relationships, they're not easy, especially long term. They're hard, very rewarding. Health and fitness, mental health, self-development, business. These are all long-term plays, and they come with their fair share of obstacles. And maybe it's meant to be that way. I don't know. The jury's out on that one for me, Dawn, but it is what it is. The challenges are going to come. So if we can embrace them and move forward, I think your lessons on that, your advice on that was very good.
I think it comes down to passion and persistence. Like I said at the beginning, we do have choice, but if we are passionate about what it is we're doing, we're going to persist through it no matter what. It's easy to give up. Anyone can do that. And it's easy to complicate things. Anyone can do that. But to keep it simple and persist through things,
not easy.
That's not easy, but it's worth it.
Yeah, I would agree fully. About the Lice Squad in particular, there's 23 years of information inside your head. For your audience that maybe hasn't heard of you before, or has heard of you that's forgotten, or maybe that's currently using your products and services but could be benefited by more information. If you could distill all of that information down into one or two main points that you would want your audience to know about the Lice Squad, what would it be? What do you want them really to know about your business?
We put people first, and we care about what we do and why we're doing it. We are doing something that not a lot of people want to do, or even want to deal with. And you have to really love what you do. And it's not about the bugs; it's about the people that we help. And it's great to get paid for that. But at the end of the day, as a mother who actually started this because I was in that position of being afraid and feeling alone and stigmatized and like just defeated. I know what that feels like, and to be like chokes me up a bit, but to be able to help people with something like that, it's meaningful.
Oh yeah.
And it's purposeful. And that's like what we want our lives to be. Purposeful. And I can tell you, anybody you asked about one of my franchises or anybody that works for me, like whoever thought we're going to pick Lice for a living, it is not even about that. Anyone will tell you it's that feeling that we get from being able to give someone that relief. And for me, I get a level above that because I get to help other people start a business. So I get to not only help people with a really horrible situation and give them relief. I get to employ people and give them a meaningful vocation. Then I get to help people start a business and give them a meaningful way of earning a living. And then they can then employ people and help people. It's like this big ripple of like amazing feel-good feeling things. Like everyone's, getting benefit from some freaky little idea that I came up with when I was going through a horrible situation in my life.
And that's what we're talking about with the challenges. I mean, you just laid it out to that previous question. You were going through something shitty, and look at what has developed from that challenge. When I was a personal trainer, still to some extent on the weekend, I work at an addictions facility on the weekend, my way of connecting with the community.
Nice.
And I'm a fitness trainer and a counselor over there. And when I was a fitness trainer full-time, 37 now, I started when I was 18 at Good Life. Then I opened up my own business, and it was just day and night. Dawn, I could not get out of that solo entrepreneur environment like you were talking about before. Had no life, no time for girlfriend, no time for family, certainly no evenings or weekends, as personal trainers are mainly there. Early mornings, late nights, weekends. And I just thought, I'm making okay money for an individual, but if I ever want a wife and kids, like this can't sustain us. And my life, although very fulfilling with my clients, is not fulfilling to me. I'm a slave to this job.
Yes.
And so I was very lucky to bump up a great mentor at the time. She's still in my life. She's had a huge impact, but she taught me about marketing. Yep. And then I used it for my own business and grew to a 13-person, still small, but that was over the next 7 years. And the main thing it gave me, Dawn, was freedom to start living beyond my work.
Yes.
And that's what got me into marketing. So again, like you, I answered my own problem, which I was a slave to my job. This is not the way you want to live. My answer was learning how to tell everybody about it and grow a business. And now that's what I help people do. So if I hadn't gone through that suffering of like basically wanting to sleep at the gym every night, because I was considering what's the point of driving home? Can I be here at 4 a.m?
Right.
Was not a good existence, found that answer and now help people do it. And it is very meaningful. People don't think of marketing as world changing, but it did change mine, and it's changed many, just like what you're offering out there to the audience changed yours. And now I imagine it's changing thousands of lives as well. We can make anything meaningful if there is meaning behind it, I believe.
Right. Absolutely. And what you do is so essential for businesses like mine and anybody who's in business. This is between marketing and being the service itself. You have to have marketing, and not a lot of companies, especially small businesses, can afford to do a lot of marketing, to have something like what you're offering and a team of people that can scale with the business as it's able to afford more of that marketing dollar. That's so critical, and it does have a great deal of meaning. I mean, I think if you, like what you did is what I did, you duplicated yourself and you put yourself in a position where you're able to create your lifestyle and build a team around you, right? And then that team has a greater power of helping other people. You had the power to begin with, but you just needed to duplicate that power and just funnel it into more people to help others, right? And now you're doing that. And that's what I did, because I was doing everything like you, and it's very hard and it's not sustainable.
No.
So now we have a team, and that's what the most important thing is to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. Don't be the smartest person in the room, and just share the love, share what you've been given.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. Before I get into my last question, Dawn, what's the best way to get a hold of you? If people are interested, how do they reach out? How do they connect? How do they learn more?
888 Lice Squad, licesquad.com, help@licesquad.com, Lice Squad at YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, yada, yada, yada.
Oh, there it is. Type in Lice Squad.
You can just Lice Squad, and you'll find a way to get a hold of us.
Yeah. If you find Lice Squad online, I imagine there's not too many other businesses that have that same name. So you're probably in the right place. The last question I like to ask, especially the way we've been talking today, there's been a lot of meaning and depth behind your answers, is I don't put it part of the questionnaire because I don't want people to script it. I really think that the more honest answer comes right off the cuff. This same mentor that I was very lucky enough to connect with her back in my early 20s, now 16, 17 years later, still in my life, she was the first one to teach me about purpose and impact and how valuable that can be on a human. A human without purpose is like a human without a destination, a roadmap, a why to get there. So she taught me to, at 22, reflect on my impact that I've had on this planet. Up to that point, I wasn't doing that at 22. I wanted like girls, fast cars, money, all the superficial stuff.
Yeah.
So she planted that seed, and now I couldn't get rid of it.
Right.
She said, reflect on your impact up to this point. Be intentional about your impact for the day. She was the first one to teach me that you may not be here tomorrow. Getting more time is out of your control. You can only control what you do with your time. Something else is granting you the gift of time. And I was like, wow, that's a trip. At that age, I didn't consider it. I thought I'd live forever. Yeah. And then she said, for however long you are here, what do you want the net result of your impact to be? Some people take this as legacy. For me, legacy is posthumous, so I'll be dead. I won't know about my impact. I want to consider my impact while I'm here and can see it. So we love to ask the guests on the show, Dawn, what would you like your impact to be?
Every morning I get up and I say to God, just help me be the person you created me to be. Let me see what I need to see, hear what I need to hear, and meet who I need to meet for your glory and purpose in my life. And for me, I am here to serve. I'm here to help other people around me. That's what we're all here and called to do, is to like love thy neighbor and be of service and of help to our fellow human beings, and to live the purpose that God gave us to live. The seeds are planted, and we are entrusted to grow that plant in that garden. And so I want my legacy just to be one of I came here and I served and I helped. I helped other people start a business. I helped people earn a living. I helped people get through hard times. I left the legacy of just being somebody who cared about other people and helped them. And, had 3 beautiful children, created a business that can carry on for them or whoever else it goes to when I'm gone. It doesn't matter. You can't take anything with you when you go. I just want to, build my treasures in heaven. And whatever is left behind, whoever has it, I hope they do good things with it and enjoy it.
What a beautiful conversation, Dawn. You just put a big smile on my face and on the inside, which is always a great indicator of a great show. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing all that you have. And thanks for doing what you do, really.
Well, thanks for doing what you do. And I appreciate the opportunity to be on the show.
Absolutely. I look forward to having many more conversations, Dawn. Until then, have a great afternoon.
You as well.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Midhurst. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpmidhurst.com. That's gnpmidhurst.com or call 705-413-3775.